But here's what he's missing. What he's missing is that the party right now has been so corrupted, if you would, by the socialists that they no longer care about the working class in America. Ryan's open this whole Rust Belt roots of his focus on jobs and the economy, that's going to connect with voters in the middle of America. But the thing is, he's actually going to get the nomination. And you can't get the nomination when you got all of those progressive socialists out there increasingly moving the party left. Joining me right now to discuss Democratic strategist Robert Patillo and Republican financier Dan Palmer. Good to see you both. Robert, starting with you. I mean, listen, I'm giving you some free advice. Joe Biden actually has some sort of mass middle appeal, right? Even despite the sniffing of the hair and all that. He's got a connection with voters. But you're out there chewing them up, spitting them out. Tim Ryan, I have a feeling you guys are going to do some similar stuff, not you in particular, but the Democratic Party. And there's this fascination with the likes of Bernie Sanders and socialists that I'll tell you, if Howard Schultz runs, you're going to just lose again. You're going to lose to Donald Trump. How do you get control of it?
I think a big thing is there's 17 people running. About 10 of them have absolutely no chance to win. The people in that Bernie Sanders wing of the party, we know that they're not going to be the nominee. We know that they're not suggesting real policy solutions. I like seeing Tim Ryan in the race.
How can you say he's not going to be the nominee, Robert? I mean, people seemingly love him.
Trish, I have told you, if Bernie Sanders is the nominee, I will wear a MAGA hat on your show. There's absolutely no way that Bernie Sanders is going to be the Democratic nominee for president. And I think we see that there is this middle ground, this centrist policy route in the Democratic Party based on the attacks on Joe Biden. They wouldn't be attacking Joe Biden for saying somebody's pretty or patting somebody on the back, and they didn't fear him and want to keep him out of the race. So I think that once the campaign really gets started, we get centrist Democrats excited, start talking about economic policy, start talking about kitchen table issues, then you'll see the poll numbers tick up.
All you guys like to talk about is AOC and, you know, the Green Deal.
That's what you like to talk about.
You got some candidates offering $1,000 to every family in America. They'll just buy the votes. I mean, Dan, look, you know, you can float that, right? I get it. You know, offer everything, freebies for all. But the reality is that never works. And we've seen it over and over again throughout history. It never works. But what does work is meaningful economic reform, less regulation, lower taxes, freeing up the economy so that people can take care of themselves. And the government there gets out of the way to help people take care of themselves. Those are policies that actually work. Tim Ryan, actually, I think, you know, he's middle of the road. He may believe in some of those things, but does he get to first base?
He's got 3 or maybe 4 major problems. I mean, number 1, no name ID. Number 2, he can't raise any money. Number 3, his lane is crowded, mostly occupied by Joe Biden. Now, maybe Biden's deflating, and in his wildest dreams, Klobuchar fails to fill the void, and up marches Ryan, and he becomes the nominee. But then he has to face Donald Trump. And no one's really done more for the American worker than the current president. I mean, the combination of what he's done on the supply side by decreasing the regulation, by decreasing the taxes, increasing the amount of employment opportunities on the one hand, and with trade deals, and on the other hand, working to try to control the border and the influx of unskilled labor. This works to create higher wage opportunities for Americans. Now, what is Tim Ryan going to do that's better than that? He has no experience, no track record. Okay. You know, he couldn't get to first base trying to beat Nancy Pelosi.
That we just heard from tonight there. Howard Schultz. Robert, are you worried about that one? Because, you know, he could be the spoiler in the whole thing, right? He could be the Ross Perot of 2020.
I'm not worried about Howard Schultz. I actually am glad that he's in the race, but I wish he would just run as a Democrat, run as a centrist Democrat.
He can't. You guys would chew him up and spit him out.
No, well, that's the entire point. If you can't beat a primary field, then you can't beat a general election field, versus a president who has poll numbers very similar to Bill Clinton in 1995 prior to his re-election. So if you can't beat the field, then you can't expect to jump in and beat the big dog at the end. So he needs to get in there, wet his chops, show that he can win, build a constituency, have his name on the ballot in all 50 states, and then also, if he does win, then he will actually have a political party behind him to pass his agenda into law. So I love what Howard Schultz says. I love what he stands for. But look, Get together and run as a Democrat if you want to get in the race.
I don't see that happening, but wishful thinking on your part. Good to see you both. We have much more coming up.